Welcome to part 5 of Let's Play Rebel Planet by Robin Waterfield. At the end of the last part, I was on paragraph 114. Let's reread this as a reminder. Your path winds through a rocky gorge, which narrows until there is only room for one person to squeeze between the two cliffs. Then, laid out in front of you on a plain, is the agricultural station. There are fields of experimental shrubs being tested for survival in this harsh climate, which are being tended by human workers. And beyond the fields is the station itself, a building insulated within a thermodome. Will you back into the rocks and make your way round to the building, turn to 88, or approach some of the humans in the fields who appear to be unguarded, turn to 22. Okay, we're going to approach the humans and turn to 22. You step out into the fields towards a group of humans who are working about 100 meters away, but you are only halfway there when a whirring noise above you and to your left makes you look up. A small silver streamlined craft is heading towards you. You dive into the shrubs as it approaches and, crouching, head for the cover of the middle of the field. But the alien is tracking you. Wherever you go, it hovers overhead. Suddenly it sprays flame. But at the shrubs, not at you. Again and again, flames shoot out until you are surrounded by fire. The smoke is dense. You cannot see your enemy. What will you do? Stay where you are and pray, turn to 53, or try to break through the circle of fire, turn to 216. Okay, we're going to try and break through the circle of fire and turn to 216, which is 6 cubed. Which is interesting. Okay. Eyes streaming and choking in the smoke, you race, sometimes leaping, sometimes zigzagging between burning bushes. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 323. If you are unlucky, turn to 389. Okay, so our current luck score is 10, so let's put it down to 9, then use a luck point. Or rather than use the luck point, I should say. Okay, so we need this to be 10 or lower. And it was. Good. Remove the buzzing. Yes, go. Go away. Wow, that was annoying. Okay, so we were lucky. That means we're turning to 323. Miraculously, your speed carries you through the danger relatively unharmed, but your exertions, scratches, and burns cost you 2 stamina points. Okay, let's lose 2 stamina points. Let's be down to 18. The alien craft was unable to track you through the smoke and is now some way off. Will you sprint for the building, turn to 338, or the rocks, turn to 259? Okay, we're going to sprint for the rocks and turn to 259. The pool of smoke provides excellent cover until you are quite near the rocks. Then you are spotted, and the silver craft races in pursuit. I think that's pronounced pool anyway. But the drifting smoke causes it to misjudge the distance and... I'll start again. The pool of smoke provides excellent cover until you are quite near the rocks. Then you are spotted, and the silver craft races in pursuit. But the drifting smoke causes it to misjudge the distance, and as you squeeze into cover, it smashes into the rock face above you and explodes. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 228. If you are unlucky, turn to 288. Okay, so we're now down to 9 luck points. Let's use another one, puts me down to 8. So we need this to be 9 or lower, which it was. Good. Let's remove any potential buzzing by doing that, and then let's turn to 228 because we were lucky. Now, the shockwave of the Zeridium blast knocks you unconscious. Deduct 2 stamina points and turn to 46. Okay, puts me down to 16. And turn to 46. When you come to, you have difficulty focusing on who you are, where you are, and what you're doing here anyway. But you can make out the blurred shape of a human bending over you. Then you remember, your mission. How long have I been out, you ask, trying to get up. He's coming round, Dorado, calls the man. Coming, Mizar, a voice replies. You've been out for about 45 minutes, says the first man, who is evidently Mizar, and the Arcadians are almost upon us. 45 minutes. Then there is no time to lose. You will scarcely make it back to the spaceport in time for your flight. You must send one of the men to defend the pass and buy you enough time to talk to the other and escape. Will you send Dorado away, turn to 175, or Mizar, turn to 255? Okay, so let's look at our notes here. So if we meet Dorado, subject 100 from that paragraph and turn to that paragraph. Yeah, so we want to send Mizar away because we need to talk to Dorado. So turn to 255, which is 2 to the power of 8 minus 1. So 255. Okay, Dorado, you say. I must go, but first tell me what you know about the digits of the Arcadian computer. Identify yourself, he says in reply. What's the password? You will now either know what to do, or you will get nothing more out of Dorado, however much you protest that you cannot know his password, having only just arrived on the planet. You have failed. Okay, so we do know what to do because I wrote down in our notes that if we meet Dorado, subtract 100 from that paragraph and turn to that paragraph. So, so 255 minus 100 is 155. Let's turn there. The bitter sea, you reply. I know none of the digits, he begins, and your heart sinks. All I know is that the whole sequence of digits is a palindrome. It is the same written forwards or backwards. Gain 1 luck point. Whoops. Gain 1 luck point. This should be enough for you to complete the code. He also gives you some food, a grey uniform which you could use for getting back into the spaceport, and enough Quandar root lotion to heal 4 stamina points of injuries. You thank him over your shoulder as you race off. Turn to 163. Okay, so we have 1 luck point and 4 stamina points. That puts me up to 9 luck points and puts me back up to 20 stamina points. Now, now a palindrome, yeah, is the same written forwards or backwards. You can have Madam, I'm Adam, if you ignore the apostrophe, of course, or just the word Madam, or the name Hannah. That's a palindrome, Hannah with an H at either end. But number palindromes are something like 2002 or 1001. They're the same written forwards as they are backwards. So therefore, the 9-digit code must be a palindrome. Now, even though I wrote down the first 3 digits are 101, that's not entirely right. All I know is that the digits must be 101, 100. They're 6 of the digits, and they have to be, and the group of 3 has to be in that order. So the only way to make it a palindrome, therefore, is to have 100, then 101, then 001. That would make it a palindrome. If I did 101 and 100, then I couldn't make that a palindrome anymore because the 100 in the middle would make it sort of not a palindrome. So the only combination is that the last 3 digits must be 001. Yeah, so code is 100, 101, then 001, and that is a palindrome. So that is the code for the computer, or whatever we need, who cares. Anyway, so you thank him over your shoulder as you race off. Turn to 163. Yeah, so the digits that I wrote down, the first 3 digits, they weren't necessarily the first 3 digits. They were just the 3 digits that I found first. They're not necessarily the first 3 digits of the code. And then the next one I got was from the picture. That was 100. So the only way to make a palindrome out of 100 and 101 is to do 100 and 101. I can't do 101 and 100 because then there's no way of making the last 2 digits, because then I'd have 101, 1, then 00. So there's no way of making the last 3 digits, of having the last 3 digits as being making all 9 a palindrome. The only way I can do that is if I have 100, 101, then 001. So that must be the code. Anyway, so 163. I did that thing again where I started talking in between paragraphs, which is risky because I sometimes forget the paragraph. Anyway, your journey back to the spaceport is uneventful but tiring in this high gravity. You would lose stamina if it were not for the food that Dorado gave you. Will you use the grey uniform as a disguise for getting back on as a disguise for getting back into the spaceport, turn to 344, or would you prefer to use wire cutters if you have them, turn to 302. Okay, we're going to use the grey uniform. I forgot to write down we have a grey uniform, so we have a grey uniform. Grey uniform. Yeah, we're going to use that, and we're going to turn to 344. Okay. You walk boldly up to the eastern entrance in your disguise. The guards call you to halt and ask what you have been doing off the base and where you came and whence you came. You explain that you left by the western entrance. Will you say that you have been attending to a broken down helicopter, turn to 26, or taking provisions out to a patrol, turn to 220? We're going to say we've been taking provisions out to a patrol and turn to 220. I think that might apply to us, that picture, so there we go. That's quite nice, isn't it? Anyway, 220, here we come. The guards let you through without further delay. Once inside the spaceport buildings, you shed your disguise and make your way to your spaceship. Turn to 78. Okay, so I have used the uniform, so I'll just put used on that. And we're turning to 78. Off we go. Your way to the spaceship is barred by 2 guards. Your heart leaps in dismay and fear, but it turns out that they are just waiting for your passenger to embark. You see 2 Central Arcadians cross the field and enter your spaceship. Neither of them returns. It looks as though you have 2 passengers, not 1. You have 2 passengers, not 1. Then the guards allow you on board. On the way to Arcadian, you may restore half as much stamina as your current score, rounding odd numbers down and remembering not to exceed your initial score. Okay, so half my current stamina is 10, so I can restore up to 10, which will put me back up to 22 again with ease, with 8 remainder. Anyway, remember also to restore the skill point you lost for the high gravity of Halmuris. Okay, so let's put that back up to 11. Now the 2 Arcadians keep pretty much to themselves during the voyage, but one night you are awoken by a rattling at your cabin door. Will you ask who it is without unlocking the door, turn to 20, or throw open the door, turn to 350? Okay, we are going to throw open the door and turn to 350. Framed in the doorway is one of the Arcadians, who looks startled. I have a headache, he says. At least I think that's why I'm here, but he trails off. Will you tell him that the medical robot will bring some interferon to his cabin, 10 to 212, or invite him in, 10 to 230? Okay, we're going to tell him the medical robot will bring some interferon to his cabin, 10 to 212. Which is boiling point in Fahrenheit. In degrees Fahrenheit. What? Oh yes, he says. Then a spasm of pain passes over his face. Who are you? What am I doing here? You're human. Guards! This is one confused Arcadian. No guards arrive, of course, but his shout brings the other Arcadian into the corridor, and he is carrying a phaser. There they are. What's going on here, Musker? He demands of the first Arcadian, but there is no reply. Your friend has a headache. I'll get the medical robot, you say eventually. He takes the first Arcadian, Musker, back to his room, and you notice that he doesn't put his phaser away. Curiouser and curiouser. Phasers are only issued in extreme circumstances. Could the confused Arcadian actually be under guard? In the morning, will you try to find out more, turn to 290, or will you bide your time, turn to 247? Okay, so in the morning, we're going to try and find out more, so we're going to turn to 290, and there's a picture of the Arcadians. So 290, here we come. In the morning, you knock on the door of the Arcadian's quarters, with the pretext of inquiring about Musker's health. The other Arcadian answers your knock, opens the door a fraction, and tells you to go away. Will you do as he says and await another opportunity, turn to 247, or kick in the door, turn to 281? Okay, we're going to kick in the door. So we're going to turn to 281. Off we go. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 104. If you're unlucky, turn to 82. Okay, so our luck is currently 9, so we need this dice roll to be 9 or lower. Put it down to 8 now. And we get a 10, so we were unlucky, which is quite rare, I know, but we were unlucky. So we're going to turn to 82. Yep, we're going to turn to 82. Off we go. The door crashes into him and sends his phaser flying across the room. To near Musker, you and the other Arcadian draw your swords simultaneously. Arcadian, skill 7, stamina 8. If you win, turn to 261. Okay, so we have to fight the Arcadian. Okay, skill 7, stamina 8. Okay, yep, 8. Okay, so my skill is 11, and his skill is 7. Okay, 7 plus 4 is 11. I get 20. So 11 to 20. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy, that's annoying. Okay, there we go. Okay, it puts him down to 6. Okay, 7 plus 4 is 11. I get 9. I get no, I didn't get 20 because it's 11 now, isn't it? I now get 20. Yeah, so it's 11 again. I'll just put this one down, then I'll change it. 11 to now it's 20, but before it was 21. But I still won anyway. But yeah, because my skill was in a fight. It was 10, but now it's 11 again. Anyway, but I still won anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's that. So he's gone down to 4. 7 plus 3 is 10. I get 16. So 10 to 16. Puts him down to 2. And then 7 plus 2 is 9. I get 22. So 9 to 22. That was relatively straightforward. Okay, good. That's the end of Mr. Arcadian. Get rid of the buzzing if there is any. Okay, turn to 261 if we win. So we did 261, which is 19 squared minus 100. Okay. Here we are. Musker is in a highly nervous state and is playing dangerously with the phaser. Will you rush him and try to wrest it from him, turn to 59, or speak to him, turn to 90? Okay, we are going to speak to him and turn to 90. You talk gently to Musker, trying to persuade him to hand over the phaser, but he has become childish and stubbornly refuses. Will you try to grab it from him, turn to 59, or continue the gentler approach, turn to 130? Okay, we're going to continue the gentler approach and turn to 130. At last he hands the phaser over and you can begin to question him, but it soon becomes clear that you are going to get nowhere. If you have a mind probe, you can use that, turn to 153, otherwise you give up and turn to 118. Okay, so do we have a mind probe? And we do. So we have a mind probe and we're going to use it. So we're going to turn to 153. Mind probe, here we come. Okay. You know that using the mind probe will almost certainly destroy what's left of his mind, but you feel you have no choice. After clearing through a morass of jumbled information, you find something useful. One of the Arcadian arsenals is located in the basement of the computer building and has an entry code of 110. Gain 1 luck point and turn to 118 as you are nearing Arcadian. Okay, so... Okay, basement entry code... Arcadian Arsenal basement entry code is 110, and we gain a luck point. So luck point puts us back up to 9, and we now know that new line that Arcadian Arsenal basement code is 110. Whoops, 110. There we go. Okay, and we are turning to 118. Here we go. I've used the mind probe, so put used on that. I think we can only have one use of it anyway, but we'll see. Anyway, 118. When you arrive at the spaceport of the capital city of Arcadian, you dare not take the phaser in case of being searched. You quickly get through the spaceport officials on the pretense. On the pretense. My apologies for that. I've been watching a lot of American things lately. You quickly get through the spaceport officials on the pretense of taking this opportunity to see around the glorious centre of our illustrious empire, as you put it. You calculate that you have a lead of about half an hour, while the two Arcadians are missed and discovered, and the authorities guess where you have gone, so you must not spend too long getting to the computer building. Turn to 185. 185. Okay. There are very few humans on Arcadian, and you have no time to waste. You approach the first human you meet and ask him the way to the computer building. He tells you the way with some enthusiasm, as if he were proud to help a stranger find the centre of the empire. If you go straight to the computer building, turn to 219. If you need to know where an arsenal is, and bearing in mind that you will probably meet no other humans, you want to ask this person where it is, turn to 284. Okay, we are going to go straight to the computer building and turn to 219. Oh, that's quick. You are nearing the end of your mission. You have reached the outside of the long, low building where the Queen computer is housed, but you know that an Arcadian patrol is not far behind. On the wall by the entrance is a panel consisting of a liquid crystal display and two buttons marked 1 and 0. This is what your whole adventure. This is at what your whole. I'll start again. This is whereat your whole adventure so far has been aiming. Do you have the correct code? You will have to enter the code for the door to open. Convert the binary number to decimal and turn to the paragraph with that number. If the paragraph makes no sense, you have not entered the correct code and will be caught by the Arcadian patrol. If you do not know how to convert binary to decimal, here is a table. Enter your binary number in the spaces provided. Each time you enter 1, that decimal number is relevant. You can ignore each space which contains 0. Add together all the relevant decimal numbers. The total is the decimal equivalent of the binary number. Okay, luckily I have a calculator with me just to make it easier. Okay, so we know it's 100,101,001. So it's 10. So it's 256 because the 2 to the power of 0 is 1. 2 squared is 2 to the power of 0 is 1. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. 2 to the power of 2 is 4, so on and so forth. 2 to the power of 8 is 256. That's how we convert to binary. I didn't need the table, but it is sort of handy just to make it faster. Anyway, so we know the code is 100,101,001. So it's going to be 100, so 256, 101, so plus 32. 0 at 16, but plus 8. Because there's a 1 there. And then 001, and then plus 1. Which gives us 297. Yeah, 297 according to my calculator, which of course is right because I put the numbers in correctly. So returning to paragraph 297. Off we go. Well done. The door slides open easily and lets you into an antechamber before sliding shut again behind you. Only then do the next doors open. And there are 4 more sets of doors. This is to keep the building as free as possible from dust. Once inside, you can see the computer room ahead, but there are also some steps down to a basement. Will you go straight to the computer room, turn to 381, or down to the basement first, turn to 169? Get to the computer room, or whatever. Anyway, we're going to go down to the basement first and turn to 13 squared, which is 169. The door to the basement is 10 cm reinforced laser-proof Kryton. No way are you going to get through that, but there is a small panel similar to the one you encountered on the outside of this building. If you know the code, turn to the paragraph whose decimal number looks the same as this binary number. Otherwise, you return to the computer room. Turn to 381. Okay, so we need to turn to the decimal number that's the same as the binary number. So, well, that looks the same. So it's 110, 110. So we're turning to paragraph 110 because that's what we wrote down, wasn't it, about the basement code or whatever, 110. So it looks the same. It's not is the same because 110 is in binary is it's 8. It would be 10. Yeah, it'd be 10, wouldn't it? Because it'd be 8 plus. No, it wouldn't be. No, sorry, I'm being stupid. It would be 4. No, it wouldn't be 10. It would be. Yeah, because I always forget the 0, don't I? Because it's 110. So the first one would be 4. The second one would be 2. Yeah, so it must be 6. 110 must be 6 in binary, which makes sense because it would be 0, 1. 1 is 1 in binary. 2 is 10. 3 is 11. 4 is 100. 5 is 101, and 6 would be 110. Yeah, so it must be 110. Yeah, for that reason as well. But if you want to do it the easier way, it's just 4 plus 2 plus nothing. So because it's 110, 111 would be 7. Anyway, so it would be 6 in decimal numbers, but it's just looks the same. So that entire exercise was completely pointless. My apologies, but oh well, it's interesting. Anyway, so we're turning to 300. Oh no, sorry, not turning to 381. We're turning to 110, aren't we? Yeah. After working all that out, I didn't even need to work out. Still forgot. I'm turning to 110. Anyway, now you are inside an arsenal which stretches away underground for many meters. It would be an understatement to say that you could start a revolution with this slot. You could annihilate the galaxy, but your requirements are not so extreme. You have time to take any 2 of the following: a sealed tube of Elmanite explosive, a limpet mine, a photon grenade, a hand phaser, and an infrared scanner. Note down what you take and turn to 348. Okay, we're going to take the sealed tube of Elmanite explosive and a photon grenade. So we have a sealed tube of Elmanite explosive and and photon hand grenade. There we go. Let's keep going. Okay, so we have that and turn to 348. Off we go. As you leave the arsenal, the door hisses shut behind you and a mechanical voice says the entry code has now changed. The new code will be circulated to authorized personnel. That's a security device you hadn't expected. There'll be no returning to the arsenal then. Your next problem is that because of the size of the arsenal, it took quite a time to find the items you needed, and you emerge from the stairs to be confronted by an Arcadian patrol. You can use against them nothing that you may have taken from the arsenal except a photon grenade and a hand phaser. If you use the grenade, turn to 86. If you use the phaser, turn to 271. If you have neither of these, you are dead. Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, so we're going to use the grenade then. So turn to 86. I mean, that's a pretty dick move, isn't it? I mean, if you choose the wrong thing, you're immediately dead. Anyway, so 86. Okay, so I've used the grenade. So used. Whoops, wrong way. Okay, so you toss the grenade and duck back down the stairs to avoid the blast. When you climb back up, there is little sign of the patrol, or the doors, for that matter. Turn to 381. Off we go. There is nothing to prevent you entering the computer room, but you know you will have to work fast once you're in there. The first door is locked, but can be broken easily. Then there is the usual sequence of doors to protect the computers from dust. Then you are inside. The gleaming, sterile surfaces of the several component computers are set against the walls of quite a small room. To think that so much power could be contained in so little space. But there is no time for such reflections. How will you go about sabotaging the organic monstrosity? 3 of the component computers are larger than the others, and they are placed in the center of each wall. The 4th wall has the door through which you have just come. So they look like the ones you ought to the ones on which you ought to concentrate. You also notice that all the computers are covered with a casing, which you assume to be some means of regulating their surrounding temperature. Which of the following will you use? Wire cutters 10 to 61, photon grenade 10 to 312, Elmanite 10 to 395, limpet mine 10 to 6, laser sword 10 to 332, infrared scanner 10 to 149, or the phaser 10 to 369. Okay, so we only have the Elmanite explosive, so 10 to 395. Whoops. Okay. Elmanite is a sensitive and powerful explosive which is automatically detonated by contact with the air. You know that from the time you break the seal of the cylinder, you have 3 minutes before the explosion. Would you break the Elmanite into 3 pieces, one for each main computer, 10 to 222? Or will you consider that if you break it up, it may not do enough damage and pack it all against a single computer? If so, will it be the computer against the wall opposite the door, 10 to 139, the computer to the right, 10 to 51, or the left-hand one, 10 to 203? If you have an alternative, you may prefer to return to 381 and choose again. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're not turning to 222. Okay, yeah, we are going to break the Elmanite into 3 pieces, of course, and we're going to go for 1 for each computer. Okay. Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong one. We are turning to 222. Sorry, yeah, yeah. We're going to break it up into 3 pieces and put it next to one, and we're going to put it against each computer. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Blimey. Okay, so I've used this as well. Yeah, so we are turning to 222. My apologies. Anyway, so we're going to break it up into 3 pieces and place it against one of each of the computers. And turn to 222. Off we go. It just says turn to 400. Okay, that was the right choice then, because that's the end, obviously. Most fighting fantasy books end at 400. Some of them don't know. I have read a couple where they haven't, of course. I've shown some videos of them. Anyway, you quickly leave the building in case the explosion should harm you as well. But right outside is a platoon of northern Arcadians, spiked tails restlessly swinging from side to side. Just as they move in for the kill, however, the crump of a muffled explosion sounds from the building behind you. Immediately the Arcadians' faces go vacant. They look around, heads lolling. You've done it. The Arcadian Empire is finished. The computer queen of the colony is destroyed, and with it went the will of its workers. And that's it. Brilliant. Okay, so we have destroyed the Arcadian Empire and saved the entire human species. Okay, brilliant. That's wonderful. So that's the end of Rebel Planet. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Next game book, at least, is going to be, I don't know. It's on the last page, I think. I've done Demons of the Deep, haven't I? Oh, it says in preparation. That's interesting. Anyway, I will do the next book in the series that I haven't done before. So I'll do that. That'll be my next book. But I don't know about my next game. I'll have to think about that. I still haven't completed Miracle Warriors. I still need to finish that off before I do a video of that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed Rebel Planet by Robin Waterfield. It was quite good for a futuristic one, I must say. Yeah, so thanks again and goodbye.